Welcome to the lesson 10 of OpenXava. In the previous lesson, we saw how to work with Lombok library in order to get a clean code and how we can make custom business logic from our getters and setters. You can see more about this following this link. Perhaps the most simple business logic that we can add to our application is a calculated property. The properties that we have used until now are persistence. For example, each property is stored in a column in a table in the database. A calculated property is a property that does not store its value in the database, but instead is calculated each time the property is accessed. We can see the difference between these properties in this example. For this example, I am using incidence class. Remember that this class is temporal. It not form part of the invoicing project, so be aware. Here I will declare two fields, one for quantity and one for price, with its annotations, getter and setter from Lombok. And we can say that this is a persistent property because it has fields and has a getter and setter declared. Now we will declare here a calculated property in this way. Public int get amount return quantity plus price, and we can see that the difference here is that in a calculated property we don't have fields and we only have a getter method with a custom logic. We can say that the calculated properties are automatically recognized by OpenXava. We can use them in views, tabulars, lists, or any other part of our code. We are going to use the calculated properties to add the money element to our invoicing application, because at this point we have details, products, quantities, but what about the amount? So the first step will be add an amount property to our detail entity. What we want is that when the user chooses a product and types the quantity, the amount of the line is recalculated and shown to the user. Adding this feature to our current code is practically adding a calculated property to detail. Just add the next code to the detail class. So locate here detail entity and add this code. We will add here a calculated property. So public big decimal, and the name will be get amount. Okay, and its logic will be if product equals null So here we are using the getter to get the price. Now we will use here two annotations. One depends to say that number, quantity. That's because it will be using when the user change product or quantity, and another annotations for a stereotype, in this case for money. Okay, and that's it. We have here a calculated property for detail. So with the depends annotation, we are saying that when the user change number or quantity, it will trigger this function. Now we have declared here a getter method named getAmount, and its logic is checking that if product is empty and price is empty, it will return a 0. Else it will multiply the quantity for the price. So we simply put the calculation in getAmount method and use the annotation depends to indicate to OpenXava that the amount property depends on the product point number and quantity. Thus, each time the user changes any of these values, the property will be recalculated. Note that in this case we use the product instead of getProduct and quantity instead of getQuantity, because from inside the class you can access directly to its fields. Now we only have to add this new property to the details collection in our base class commercial document. So open here commercial document entity and locate here list properties and add here only amount. Save, and that's it. This is all the code and nothing else is required. A mere addition of this getter and modify the list properties is enough. Now we need to test our application to be sure that all these functionalities are working fine. So start your application. When you access your application, if you go to invoice and select one of your invoice, here I will add one product, and when we add the quantity, we can see here that the amount is recalculated. As for order, we can open another order, and if we modify here the quantity, we can see that we have here the amount recalculated. So we can say that for invoice or order, the functionality is working fine. In this lesson we have seen the application of calculated properties, the difference between them and the persistent properties when we are establishing business logic. In future lessons we will see how work with collections and totals. So how was this lesson? Remember to leave your comments, like this video and subscribe to our channel for future content. See you soon!